And welcome back. Council Bluffs leaders are sitting down with us this morning to share their plans to build more affordable housing in the city. It's an important issue that could literally save lives. You see, in February, a woman living in a tent community near Carter Lake died from cold exposure. Lack of attainable housing put a strain on shelters like the Open Door Mission and Sienna Francis House in Omaha. And while they won't turn people away, not everyone wants to be part of the overflow.
When they're in overflow, they have to sleep on the mat. They won't have a locker for their belongings, so they might not feel safe not being able to lock their stuff up like they normally would.
Yeah, and Council Bluffs police said more than 40 people were living in tents during those extreme cold temperatures this winter. U.S. News Real Estate says the median home value in Council Bluffs is just under $175,000. Right about that, actually. According to Apartments.com, the average monthly rent in Council Bluffs is about $1,100. Those are both well below the national average. Still, there isn't enough to keep up with demand, as you've heard this morning. So joining us now to explain how the city looks at additional housing is Courtney Harder. She's the Community Development Director for Council Bluffs. Courtney, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
First off, people don't know, what's your responsibility? What's your job?
So I am the Community Development Director. I oversee 4 of our different divisions: our Housing and Economic Development Division, Planning and Zoning, as well as Code Compliance. So if there's folks that aren't maintaining their properties, as well as our Building Division for permits, and then another one is our Animal Control Division.
Gotcha. So we're talking housing, obviously that hat.
Yeah.
How has housing shifted, the housing needs shifted since you've been in?
I think what I see is it's become more complex because it takes a lot more to get a project done with the rising costs that have been associated with infrastructure and just material costs in general. Interest rates have played into that significantly. So what I found is that it's a lot more of a layered approach that we have to take to every project, and really the need continues to grow despite the pace of construction, and all those needs continue to rise as well.
Now, the city lists key development areas, and one of them, and we can go over a couple of them, but First Avenue Corridor. Tell me about that. That's key.
It is. So the city has significant investment in our trail system that's there, as well as we have currently 3 projects in the pipeline, 1 under construction, that will create new multifamily units throughout the trail. We see that as a corridor that is accessible for folks in new ways. For example, you have trail access that perhaps you don't need a car. You'll be able to walk to school. You can walk to the grocery store. You'd have healthcare right at your disposal as well. I think that what I see about that corridor is it's a place that you can live, you can work, you can do all the things that you want to do, and you could potentially do it without a vehicle if that was something that you didn't want to have in your family, or if you couldn't have that with your family. So the First Avenue Corridor is just a new model that we're trying to see how folks want to live, and really just a holistic approach.
You also have East Manawa. That's a little different.
It is a little different. So we purchased our East Manawa subdivision land. It's about 93 acres in 2022 with some ARPA dollars, as the mayor mentioned. And that right now we have a project under construction. The infrastructure is under construction for a 40-unit townhome style development, with 100% of those 40 units going to households at or below 80% of the median family income. And in Council Bluffs, that's about $70,000 a year for a family of 4. That funding is from the state of Iowa. We received a grant of $6.8 million to help construct those homes. And right now we have a wait list of folks that have already said that they're interested, and semi-pre-qualified of about 20. So, and we haven't started a single house just yet. So I think that just shows how much need we have in Council Bluffs.
Yeah, I think that screams the need that you have in Council Bluffs. Yes. Also, there's River's Edge and surplus property are the categories, basically. The Dodge Riverside was going to be part of that surplus property.
Yes.
How are we standing in that situation? Is there enough, I guess my question would be, is there enough land in Council Bluffs?
I think that's an interesting question because, you know, I compare us to Omaha slightly in how our annexation works, and Council Bluffs really does not have the same tools for annexation that the state of Nebraska has. So right now we really are working within our borders, and honestly what is served by infrastructure, because of that, is a really driving force for a lot of projects. And so I think that, as Mayor alluded to, there is still potential of Dodge Park. It has to be further studied. We are continuing with the projects that we have and trying to get the land holdings that we have under construction and moving that forward. I don't see a shortage of the need anytime soon, so it'll be continuing just through the process.
How do you work? You work with Habitat and other organizations. Tell me about that collaboration. How important is that? How does that work?
I think it's incredibly important because when we look at Habitat or NeighborWorks Home Solutions or any of our other other nonprofits that help with assist with housing, it's just another layer that we're able to help contribute to those households. So, for example, Habitat is helping folks underwrite and get into a mortgage that they can qualify for. NeighborWorks Home Solutions is helping us build new construction homes, and then we at the city provide down payment assistance to those folks. In addition to that, our philanthropic organizations are providing a construction offset because, as I said, the construction costs of new homes are very expensive. So, like I said, it's really about layering the funding together and looking at it from an approach that it's important to provide housing to everyone. And that's where our nonprofits step in, is to help those folks that perhaps would not have the same resources as others.
Is there a hot spot in Council Bluffs right now for development?
You know, I think that there's things happening all over the city in different areas and different types of housing that we're constructing. So I'm not sure I would have anywhere in particular that I would call out. I think that there's a lot of things happening on our First Avenue. There's a lot of movement on our East Manawa. River's Edge is close to being built out, which is incredibly exciting. So overall, I think we have a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that somebody watching this could do? I mean, because they may be sitting here, well, yeah, I want a home, I want some place to live. What can I do?
Yeah. I always encourage folks to go to our website and just check out the opportunities that exist through the City of Council Bluffs, because we have a lot of resources at our disposal that we're helping with folks, specifically our East Manawa project. We're also working with those folks that say, hey, I have a bigger need right now, and we're working to connect them with Habitat, or perhaps they need something that's a little more specific. If we have someone that has some accessibility issues, perhaps we need to connect them with NeighborWorks, and there's some options for customability there.
And so for developers or potential developers, when do they come to you? I mean, do you put out the feelers for them first?
We do it both ways, actually. So on city-owned property, yes, we do put those requests for proposals out, and we're asking for things based on what we believe that the community needs at the city level. We also have developers that are approaching us and say, hey, I have this land that I've been looking at or that I own, and I'd really like to do something here. And I know housing is a priority for the city. How can I help with that initiative as well as get potentially some incentives?
And finally then, briefly, you optimistic?
I am a born and raised Council Bluffs resident. So to me, it is incredibly hopeful to see how the movement that we've had, and there's just a lot happening right now. It's a process that has taken long before my time at the city. I can't take credit for most of it because most of these projects have taken decades to come to fruition. So when we're talking about things happening right now, the building blocks for that happened probably 15, 20 years ago. So that's why we continue to look forward and see that future and what's the next thing that what's going to come on next, so that we're ready for that next step.
All right. Courtney, I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much.
You bet. And coming up on Chronicle, you have heard about what the city is doing. Now you're going to hear what the programs mean to a new homeowner.